My name is Logan, and I'll be presenting my instrument failure analysis. So let's get started. For my pre-scenario risk brief, before we get into the actual scenario, for the trip, for what I'm doing and flying straight and level in IMC, found myself in these conditions. I'm on an airway, cleared on course for my filed altitude. As a pilot, I don't have an illness. I'm not on any medications that would alter my flight ability. I'm not stressed or fatigued. I'm well rested, and I've gotten what I needed to eat today. For the aircraft, on taxi and during climb, I have verified the health for suction, electrical, and pitot-static systems. I'm already familiar with what gyros are vacuum driven and which are electrically driven. The environment I'm in, I know that I'm in IMC and there's potential for turbulence and icing to occur, but I've identified alternates and fields that I could divert to in the chance of an emergency. External pressures, I'm pressured to make where I need to be on time, so wherever I'm flying to, but I've decided that I will divert or declare if the flight is unsafe. So the scenario, the heading indicator is showing a gradual left turn, the attitude indicator is showing wings level, the turn coordinator is standard rate turn to the left, and the altimeter is showing a descent. So the faulty instrument that I've identified, based on the indications of the other instruments, the attitude indicator seems to be failing, and the cause that I've identified, internal or mechanical issue, possibly a worn bearing of just the attitude indicator, and it would not be a total vacuum failure because the heading indicator seems to be working fine, and it also works through that system. So the impact with the attitude indicator being out, it could lead to myself as the pilot having spatial disorientation if I'm just relying on that attitude indicator without confirming what the other instruments are doing. Confirming the faulty instrument. So to confirm the faulty instrument, I can use the POH or the pilot's handbook, of aeronautical knowledge, and I can use the FAA published VScan hub and spoke method. This method involves looking at the attitude indicator and then scanning the supporting instruments, such as the altimeter, the turn coordinator, vertical speed indicator, heading indicator, and then back. So verifying the faulty instrument, I've noticed the turn coordinator and heading indicator both agree on a left turn. The altimeter and vertical speed indicator are both confirming a descent. So this just verifies that the attitude indicator is only showing wings level, which confirms that it's failing. So immediate actions to maintain control of the aircraft. Per instrument flying handbook procedures, to prevent spatial disorientation and regain control of the aircraft, I'd first regard the failed instrument, which is the attitude indicator, not look at that. So I'd use the turn coordinator for bank information, the altimeter, vertical speed indicator, and airspeed indicator for pitch control. And yeah, use the supporting instruments to maintain my desired altitude and wings level. So I would also avoid fixation error by frequently cross-checking the instruments, and advise ATC and declare an emergency if navigation becomes unsafe or if I have too much of a workload put on me. And a call with ATC declaring an emergency for this case would sound something like Mayday, 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 Skyhawk, 1 Alpha, 2 Bravo 3, attitude indicator failure, IMC, request no gyro vectors to nearest airport suitable. So biblical integration that I picked out, I chose to use the verse James 1:5, If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. So, being calm, composed, and relying on training during an instrument failure is very important because it aligns with seeking God's guidance during hard times. And often we rely on our training and checklists during emergencies and uncertainty, which correlates with how we also rely on God, who gives us clarity. And here's my references. Thank you.